Final Fantasy Randomizer. We're back again. Look at this. It's the OJ Power Hour with me, Oslodo, my co-host, Jay Scheidel. Here we are again, week number 3. We're still going.
We made it.
Jay, we made her again, buddy. So
Week
what's been
three.
the I
Yeah.
can't believe it. It's been crazy. What's the latest coming from you, my friend?
Oh my. Mostly surviving. Like, it's the end of the school year for me. We're mostly putting things through. But otherwise, hanging out, killing bots in the Discord this week. Like, everything's just
Oh
working.
boy. I tell you, man, it's I'm trying to get up my numbers. I don't
Yeah.
like the fact that I have 2 people have sniped my kills. I am not a fan of this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I can't seem to. I see them, and by the time I get there, it's not going to happen. But I mean, yeah, been a bit of a hectic week,
Yeah.
for sure. There's been a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about. The Platy Party ran this week.
Yep.
That was actually really fun. That was good.
There's a couple
Definitely.
planning committees well on the way. We should be about a month out of 2 different tournaments coming on up. So, like, a lot of stuff
I
going on right now.
Yes, I'm hoping to get in on bingo this year. I really am. I think it'd be a great time, and hopefully, if I can convince my other self to be on with me, we can do co-op because the Kraken O's is such a great name.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Hey, be careful, they'll brack your teeth.
Well, if I remember right, you've been working on a lot of dev stuff recently, right?
I don't consider myself anywhere near a dev, but I do have a bit of a surprise announcement coming up when we get to the end, well, on the end of the program. But yes, there is something in the works. It is still in alpha testing,
Mm-hmm.
but we do have a real treat in store for people who enjoy the randomizer, and some other big stuff to come that I unfortunately I can't talk about just yet because I don't know if I can do it. And
Well, we'll
once
get there.
again, yeah, but honestly, huge shout outs to Wildham. I'm sorry for pestering you for all the questions that I've had. You're a good sport. Really appreciate you.
Well, I think we're getting ready
I
to kind of move on to our guest here, which I may have spoiled at the beginning. Sorry about that. But I do want to tell you here we've got one new ad for you today, but it's not going to be the
We
first one. So
do.
you got to stick around and wait for the second one to see
Yeah.
what's up. So
Yep.
I hope you like some Warmech.
Every day, in every dungeon, countless chests are opened and treasures removed, rooms entered and items stolen. Theft is up, your GP and items are at risk. It can and will happen to you. How do you feel safe? How do you take back the power? Warmech Security Services. Warmech Security Services are now offering the well-known Sky Castle experience to you, the home user. Now your treasures can be protected by the powerful War Machine of Lore. You want thunder, you've got it. You need a Cure 4 to clean up those fiends, we can provide. For a limited time only, you get to choose the armament of your personal robot of terror. Act now and we will throw in, free of charge, Stone Touch. Your death robot will have a chance to create your own Light Warrior Garden statue. You're not going to get that anywhere else. Crime is up. Trap tiles will not cut it anymore. Peace of mind is just a nuclear away. Call Warmech Security Services and get the robot you need at the price that's right for you. Warmech Security Services not available in all areas. Company not liable for damage to property or neighbors. Not approved for protection of families or children. Do not use Warmech as a flotation device. Warranty void upon opening of the mech.
Hey, we are back again, and look who we have with us. You know him as the challenge master himself. It's shoombabi.
Yo!
Oh, hey, I don't know that I want to call myself a master, but I appreciate the title.
I mean, you run
Oh,
it. You're the master of the program, right?
that's right. I
Uh,
mean,
I, I will take lead for now. I would certainly welcome others to come help out if they want to. But
so Shoom, let's get a little about you, about your history as a runner. How did you get started on the randomizer in general?
so I mean, I played Final Fantasy when I was like, I don't know, 5 years old or so, and so it's always been a part of my life. But during COVID, I think I joined the server in August of 2020.
Okay.
So um, I was actually torn between this and Dragon Quest Randomizer. I had seen more on Dragon Warrior side, but I didn't want to commit to that as much. It seemed too kind of solved, and also the mazes always being dark didn't really. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy that aspect of it. And then I stumbled.
Understand that.
Yeah, I stumbled into FFR, and so that was in the late summer. I busted my tush on a gazillion pickup races. I was just pretty much every day pinging Raceorg for the Duck Derby, and we had something like 40 members in that class. And so that Duck Derby was my first event, and I I still carry this with me because one of those races, I think it was the first one actually, I got my my vaccine shot and I had brain fog that night, and I could not figure out what I was supposed to do. It was like I practiced forever and I wound up in like 20th on my first race, and I was like, oh good god. But yeah, it was it started there, and then after that whole duck class had finished up, had co-op on the mind. I think there was a winter tournament at some point in there, but that was a nothing event for me because I wasn't good. I don't know that I am good now, but I certainly wasn't then.
Don't sell yourself short.
And I'm okay. I'm okay enough. And yeah, so Luffy messages me out of the blue, and then we became co-op partners, and then we both admitted to each other that we were going to reach out to Chanigan if we didn't get this as a team. And so we brought him in on Fall League, and the rest is history. We're now almost 4 years together, really.
Jeez.
And how did you do in Fall League? Wait, don't remind me.
Yeah.
No, I think we did pretty well. 2 years winners. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You guys are. Don't get me wrong. Hopefully, Bubble Sodaco coming back this year stronger than ever. Hopefully.
I love Fall League. I think the competition there is stellar, and we get to really explore some stuff.
Yes.
And one of the big themes that I think you'll hear from me tonight, and I might as well get started on it now, is that I value metagaming more than the actual gaming. So when I say I'm not a good player, I mean that. Across like every video game that I play tons of things, and I do them all at a reasonably high level, but not certainly on a super competitive level. So the edge that I get tends to be in how do I work with others, or how do I game the system. And so that has kind of fed into challenge in a way.
Fall League.
But yeah, no, I love playing the game beyond the game.
Yeah, that's and Fall League will certainly, especially the last year's flags, which had a lot of differences from transmoog to all items cast magic and no magic available. There's a lot of great stuff in Fall League that I think a really good job was done, and a lot of people really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
definitely.
We'll just do our normal, get about 3/4 of the way through, and then Trash Island will burn like we always do.
It's really daunting on a long tournament like that to maintain that consistency, and then it becomes, and then here's a super meta game, right? Like by week 3 you start to identify, oh no, these are the runners on Monday night, like who do we put up against them? And then everybody starts switching, and it's
so we
wild.
all schedule I can only do on Mondays, not on Thursdays, but you need to
Yep, I remember those conversations very well. I mean, I got a meme out of the Fall League, and I was happy with that. I knew I knew Bubbles Otico wasn't gonna go far, but you know what? I had a great time, and it was getting my own meme in the Final Fantasy randomizer community was probably worth more to me than winning. And I'm sure that next year I will come back. We'll play it again. We'll have a great time.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my meme.
Oh, you'll.
Oh, do I just make a face? Is that going to be enough? No, I don't.
Oh no, Shoom. There might there's a meme. There's a meme for you. I'm sure there is.
All right, there's
a
meme for everyone. That's fine.
So how did you come up as just being the challenge man, the man making the challenge seeds?
Yeah.
I don't super know. I have an idea. Mostly because I never really played the challenge seeds. I don't even know who had this before me.
Okay.
When a couple of admin elections ago, Burt Reynolds reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a challenge lead. I think it was because of how some stuff on the R and Kylo matches went. Okay. And just for people who aren't familiar with the R and Kylo, I should probably explain that a bit. if you think of what the Aran Kylo is as an enemy when you encounter it, which is brutal and not worth anything, and then you feel worse for having done it, that's kind of like what the flag set was on Saturday night at 10 or 10:30 p.m. And so I didn't do a whole lot of those, but when I did, I would intentionally try to make it to second place because those were the people who got to set the flags for the following week.
Okay.
So it was really a time where you could be super trolly, and I think he picked up on that. And that is not my goal any longer. But having I'm honestly not trying to troll in any of this.
No.
It's just I think it kind of flagged me as somebody that was willing to do things that were out of the ordinary. And at the same time, Mad Martin had come in, and so we kind of back and forthed it. And then at some point, I had kind of fallen off in my ability to get the seeds out, and Falconic stepped up and introduced to me something that I'm really looking forward to expanding on actually in the future, which is the idea that like we don't necessarily need to use a timer as the metric for who's winning these things. Like we can build narratives around it and then try to come up with some sort of alternative goal. And so that is, and I feel like I'm jumping the gun here, but leads into where I'm trying to take the challenge series.
Interesting.
That's that's great, because that kind of it gives, so that right there is a little bit of the history of what you've been doing. I've noticed over even before the Chaos Trials, even before this, there tended to be a running theme for what you wanted in every race, which was fantastic.
I tried to make it fun in a different way. I didn't want it to be challenging in the sense of I just feel like this is difficult. It's that I wanted to challenge expectations. Really, I was looking at alternate definitions of how we could interpret what a challenge seed meant. And so it's not just all about difficulty. Sometimes it's about completely turning the game on its head so it doesn't even look like FFR anymore. Sometimes it's about within the framework of FFR, just doing something that you either wouldn't typically do or really going overboard on doing it and being the fastest to do that. That was where I tried to leave it.
You kind of touched on it there a little bit, but you usually come up with a theme before the flags, or you like have an idea and then like, I want to do this and create flags off of a theme?
So with flag creation, right, my primary goal is always fun. My secondary goal is skill expression, right? I want to leave room for runners to bump into similar challenges, but then decide to tackle them in different ways, but still feel successful at the end of it. And so early on in my FFR career, right, I was very influenced by a member named Jat, who anybody that was around for him would remember him fondly. He was a very, very nice guy, always did the VOD reviews, but also kind of gave me a lot of insight into not only flag design, but how people receive flags. And then on top of that, I've had a lot of exposure to Mark Rosewater. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He is the lead designer on Magic the Gathering. And so he's done some presentations and podcasts. And one of the greatest takeaways that I got from him, and it's probably his most famous one, is that restriction breeds creativity. And so I try to go into this going, I have an idea of how I want people to tackle this. I'm going to force them into a smaller pen. Like they're going to have a limited set of resources or idea of how to do this, but within that, I'm going to give them the ability to kind of tackle it how they want to.
Create their own way through it, basically.
Right. So it's not only me being creative via the restrictions that I'm putting on myself, but it's them being creative in how are you solving this puzzle that I'm laying out for you.
Right. You've got multiple tools. You're going to use the hammer. You're going to use the jackhammer. Yeah.
Right. Whereas I always tell my students, it's like you could dig a hole in your backyard with a shovel or with the dynamite. And the dynamite will always work, but it's not always going to be the most effective for the job.
I mean, it depends on the job.
It's not going to be the right one.
I mean, you can make a big hole with it. That's for sure.
Right. Like you could always take a 50 black belt, but it's not always the right answer.
Correct. So, and that kind of comes up to the next thing is the Chaos Trials that you've been running the past couple of weeks. Now, I fully admit that I went into there thinking, oh yeah, and then, oh man, a couple of those just, they were. They were something else. So what was your idea behind having like an entire story theme? Because that was actually like the
Yeah.
first time I think I've seen that.
Yeah, so that was originally supposed to be, and I actually put together a wiki page so I could detail this a little bit more just to get my thoughts out there into the world. Um, it was supposed to be a pilot almost for a tournament in which you had an evolving flag set. And so my initial idea was I'm just going to say, okay, every time you kill Chaos, he gets a little bit stronger and the world changes a little bit. And so it was
Right.
going to be vanilla
Mhm.
overworld into one edit, into multiple edits, into ProcGen. And so I wanted the map to be the only thing that changed. And very quickly, I realized without one of the benefits of doing this for as long as I have now is that I don't need to play test it all to know that it's not going to work. So in doing that, I realized like that's not going to be fun because this isn't a tournament, right? Like
Right.
in a tournament setting, people are going to play the same flags 30 times. It's going to work to know that these are my incentive locations. And so map edits are going to change that. It's pretty drastic, but not fun enough on a week-to-week basis or a bi-weekly basis. So I scrapped that idea and I went to, okay, well, what happens if I still have this narrative around every time you beat him, he comes back stronger and messes with you in some manner.
Right.
And so that first week was me just putting feelers out with this way overtuned deep dungeon where that one was the jerkiest of jerk moves I could have done. But it was me saying, look, if you can get through this, that's the hardest that you're going to encounter until the very last stage. So good luck, have fun.
I made it.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but I made it.
A lot of people did. I'm shocked at how many people stuck that out. And then sorry, I just caught chat. No,
Oh yeah,
no pickles.
by all means.
You did not get that entrance. I can give it to you later if you want. I'll explain that some other time. But yeah, so that one was supposed to be brutal, but the rest of it was sort of like, okay, let me introduce you to no overworld. Let me introduce you back to a vanilla overworld with some twists. Now Matoya is getting bothered by how basic this seems. Let's completely warp everything. Oh no, yeah. Are you really in Dragon Quest now? And then it starts to come back to the ProcGen. And then ultimately, I really was looking forward to that round 8. I was planning those flags for a while, and I was so disappointed to find out that Lake Shoom exists. Because some of my flag choices had some incompatibilities. So I had to redo that one. But that was supposed to be the culmination of like, do you know FFR? Do you know how to navigate all of this nonsense?
Sure don't.
Yeah. It turns out, by the way, that when you put Chaos in a box, if you have a full inventory, you might just not be able to loot Chaos, and you don't even know he's there.
Okay.
Yep. Fun fact about that. I've run into that before, where I opened a chest and it was, you cannot hold silver shield. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Silver shield? And I was like, well, you know what? I could use a silver shield. So I dropped it, opened, and I was like, monster in a box. Huh? Oh crap. This is gonna end.
Box.
Yep, and it didn't end well. It did not. But I knew he was there.
Yeah, that is the benefit.
I have run into that before, where if you have a full inventory and you open the box, Chaos is just gonna be there being like, hey, sorry, no.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish I would have tested that one more, but I don't know that I ever would have found the same issues that everyone else bumped into. That was a lot more.
Even if you run it a dozen times, if you have 5-6 people playing it, someone's going to get a different experience. And the more you get, just more iterations.
Yep.
It's a great way to do beta testing. Just throw it at the wall.
Yeah. So did you have this planned as like an 8-game series, or were you like, I'll see how far this takes me if people are interested? Like,
when I first threw out the idea just to see if people would be interested in a multi-week series, I was considering it to be probably like 4, and then I switched it from just map edits to this bigger kind of event. And so the flags themselves weren't completely predetermined, but I had a general sense that I wanted this to be over 8 rounds. I'm not going to call it 8 weeks, but 8 rounds, because I wanted to give people time to see each set of flags, but also to go back in time and do them if they wanted to.
Right.
So I might have to adjust and make that more obvious what the format is, but I'm hoping I can do something similar.
Oh, yeah.
Again, because it was a lot of fun to put it together, and it also held me accountable, right? It's very easy. I mean, I love this role, and every time I've fallen off on not getting a challenge seed out in a week, I was like, oh no, but I don't want to lose this position because
Right.
this is super fun for me, and I want people to experience this stuff. It's kind of my way of bringing Fall League throughout the year. And so this was my way of holding myself accountable, that every 2 weeks I'm doing this because I've got people that understand that like this is important.
Mm-hmm. Do
Absolutely.
it again. It seemed to be really good. I loved all the storytelling you had with it, all the descriptions, everything you came up with.
That was great. That was more world building than you usually get.
Speaking of world building,
Uh-oh.
Yes, I guess that was the next. So for the future, what are your plans for the future? Because now that we're getting to the end of this, what's next?
So I'm going to take a small break from the seasonal format. I mean, I didn't even run it by admins, so I think I have one with me right now.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to need a champions title for Thursday. Maybe a specific one. But so in the future, I'm going to give it probably a couple of weeks just so that I can wrap up my school year.
Sure.
And then maybe start something in the summer as the Ducks start to get out of the Derby, so that they might be inclined to do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to set it up as an alternative to like when you have a major tournament, you don't want to get burnt out on those flags, right? So here's something that you can jump into that I'll also keep your progress tracking. And it's not quite as I don't want to say Lefanian Ladder is standard. They are definitely quirky flags, but they don't push in the same way that I would expect a challenge to push.
Right.
Like I want to have kind of like the Fall League experience throughout the year via these flags, and give people 4 months to come back and still be part of the tournament again, in air quotes. It's bragging rights, I suppose, but it's really just commiserate together on what these are. Ale flags would certainly make this a challenge seed for Lefanian Ladder. That's fair.
Oh yes, he's crafted those ones with tender loving care. Is not what I would consider it. It's more like this is gonna hurt, and you're gonna enjoy a bit of it, I think.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I already have an idea of where an ale flag set goes, right? And you start to get a feel for in planning committees and just by doing pickup races with people, what kind of flags they all lean into. And I'm hoping that aside from the fact that everybody knows I love No Overworld Shuffle, that this series and really the challenge seeds will continue keeping people on their toes about what does a shoombabi flag set feel like, because I don't want it to be standard. I want you every week to come into it, be like, ooh, this is uncomfortable, but I'll give it a go because I trust him. And then half an hour in, you can't stop because now you want to beat it. And then 2 hours in, you're like, okay, that was fun. In retrospect, I did have a good time.
Right.
Yeah, that's I've done enough shoom seeds in the challenge thing to be 45 minutes in thinking this is ridiculous. This is driving me nuts. And then I get to the end and it's like, all right, we did it. We're through. We're done. We can say yes.
I promise there was a vision from start to finish. And so once you get over that hump, you get there.
I've been there. I've done that. So I'm gonna come back to a question, but I want to skip over because you mentioned it, and I think that this is a really important question. Would you ever consider an ale versus shoom challenge battle where you both get your own seeds made by each other and run them?
Oh, he'd have a lot more fun than I would, I think.
Well, probably. I'm just putting it out there. The OJ Power Hour would love to sponsor that as a special.
I suppose for the sake of the community, I'd be open to it.
I think Gail's still in chat if he's still there. I mean,
yeah, I'm sure he is. My impression of Ale's attempts at challenge is that he also takes the restrictive approach, but he's very heavy-handed about it, and he's like, "Ha, you're not going to have this thing. Good luck, have fun." I'm like, "Okay, I guess I don't cast spells this game," and like you just sort of go with it.
You do,
but yeah, no, they're often a good time.
Of course, our fun chat people here chanting and pointing out that he can imagine you just yelling all seed long.
He doesn't have to imagine it. I mean, we have been in voice chat way too frequently where he knows. I mean, I'll play one of a flag set and I know exactly how it's going to go, and he will nonstop hear me whining about it. I could have a whole charcuterie board with how much wine I
Just
give.
complains all the time.
Oh dear.
That's
So-
all I do.
Shots fired.
Oh, indeed. So we'll jump back to the question that I
Yeah.
skipped over. So, and I think I know the answer to this. You've been doing this for quite a good amount of time, but I know there's limitations as to what you can and cannot do. So, is there a challenge or a puzzle you'd like to make, but you can't with the current features within the flag set?
Yeah. So, and this is something that I constantly coming back to. And now after talking with you and seeing what the intro to dev kind of looks like, right? I'm considering trying to get into it to make something work here. I'd really like to add meta progression in some fashion. I've always wanted to do the FFR roguelike, which is why I started with Deep Dungeon, actually, is because it was like the closest thing.
Okay.
And ultimately, I kind of want to go into like the ability to do hardcore modes, but have your progress tracking not within the game. So when I say hardcore, I mean like no save on game over, no saving at ends, no shelters. Like
Right.
you just get one life to live and you go through the seed. But based on the meta progress that you're making in that seed, the next time you go to challenge it, you're going to be able to carry something else with you. Which I think we could do, right? Like I don't want to do it on tracking it on a spreadsheet and then having people do their own stuff, and then it just sort of feels like everybody's making their own seeds anyway.
Sure.
I want to be able to do it in a way that it feels cohesive.
Right.
So meta progress would be something that I would really like.
I see Ale is piped up in chat. That's good. Cheese stocks going up in value.
Yeah, man, so much wine. It's just
Oh, wow. Well,
go ahead. We've talked about it a little bit here, but just like imagine next week's challenge seed or the next one that you're putting out. Kind of talk us through your process through it. Like, don't spoil it what you're doing, obviously. But
no.
what is your process for coming up with a seed from scratch? Like, hey, I've got an idea. I want to run with it. Just what goes through your head? That look.
yeah. So I'm trying to do it because I have an idea of
Right.
what I want to do, and I'll give it away. I kind of already spoiled it. I want to go into hardcore, but I haven't fully fleshed it out. So what goes into my mind as I'm looking through those flags is, how am I going to start playing with classes to make it so that hardcore feels like a threat to you without being like brutal, right? Like I'm not going to send you into you can't save this game with 4 black belts, right? What am I going to offer you at the beginning that holds you on just long enough that you feel like it's doable? And then what am I going to smack you with later where you feel like it isn't, but you feel really great when you can?
Right.
And so how do I have to lay out the incentives to do that is one of those ways. Am I making this primarily land-based or am I making it primarily air-based? Because that's going to change how I want to view the encounter table. Am I even giving you this world, or am I going to just go into the map editor and make something new for you? Because I played with that for round 8, and I really love playing with the map editor now. It's so easy to use relative to what Hackster was.
oh yeah.
Need to go play
And
with that.
so I just want to not even like copying other worlds, like make my own world and then say this was deliberate. This wasn't a proc gen world, but it's also going to be something that you're not familiar with. And so I get to play with this constant what's lurking around the corner aspect. And so that's what goes into my mind just on that flag set, right? But like in general, it's always like, what's the restriction? What is the win condition I'm trying to place on my players? And then how can I stop them from attaining it too soon, but give them just enough breadcrumbs to make it worthwhile to get there?
So do you have like a favorite kind of go-to flag for that? Just like, hey, I'm always going to mess with the party, or I'm always going to mess with the level. Like, what's your kind of favorite go-to for a challenge?
That's a great question that I don't know I have.
Or do you try to change it up so you don't have a go-to?
Yeah, I do try to change it up a lot. I like to play with the party a lot.
Okay.
I don't remember if I actually did this for round 8 or not, because this is how often I think of so many flag sets, is that one of the things I wanted to do was you had to recruit a character if you beat the Fiend,
Okay.
and you wanted those tiles, right?
Yeah.
So I think that goes really well with a shard hunt, which I don't think I did with that, because then you get to say, do I want to recruit this character, and do I want those shards? Like, am I going to need those to push me over the edge because everything else is trapped with a monster in a box that's way too scary,
Right.
right? And so I have ways of kind of forcing you into doing things that you don't want to do, which I really enjoy playing with. But Ale nailed it with what he said in chat. On some of them, it's how much can I leverage your sunk cost fallacy? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I've
One more
experienced that
thing.
personally. When the next dive, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this, and it didn't work.
Or you make
All
it
right,
just a
let's
little
go
bit
back
further. Yeah.
a little bit further. Yeah, and you go out and you try it again. You try it again, and sometimes it works, and other times you're just like, oh, I have sat here at this desk playing it, being like, Shoom, what have you done? Why are you doing this to me? Oh, you gave me a free Masa? That's lovely. Oh, and I have only one character,
Yep.
and it's a white mage.
So
All you need.
full transparency, I don't play fully through my challenge seeds. For the most part, I make sure that the intro is something that I want you to start with, and then I go, is that too generous? Is that not generous enough? And then I look for a nearby town, and I make sure that like you're off to an okay start.
Good luck.
But I really enjoy that week after week I'm getting people that are coming into the spoilers and saying, hey, this is where I had all my hardships, but also that was really fun. And they're thanking me for it, and that just actually feels great, because I mean, aside from being appreciated, I like knowing that I can establish these flags and I do know how it's going to play out. Like, I have a really decent sense of what's actually going to happen to you, and so sorry, but here's your seed. Like,
So I could go look
No,
this up. I just haven't right now. Do you know if you, especially this last season, do you have it all saved like on the wiki or something? So like if someone wanted to go do it, we could go back and actually start from level 1.
I
And
do.
Okay.
I have it saved on a wiki page. I don't think I updated for round 8, maybe not even
Okay.
round 7, but I'll throw those up soon.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so I'm interested in this. I want to get into it. Honestly, I am, but I just haven't had time recently. But I would want to start way back at 1 to kind of see how it progresses. So if someone else is
So
like that.
Oh, it
Right.
progresses.
And my intention for this was that, like, if you jumped in at round 6 and you wanted to participate as an actual competitor in this whole series, you still could, right?
Right.
You would just submit your time for round 6, and then it would be honor system. And I trust people at this level are going to be honorable about it. And you just say, okay, I'm going to do these five flags. I'm going to add up these times,
Yeah.
and you don't get your bonus points, but you can still compete. And so I need to find some way of tracking that, or making a system where it's not just time based, so that people feel like they can do the pop in, pop out thing. And then it's not, oh, you have 2 weeks to do a seed for 8 rounds in a row, but it's, oh, you have 4 months to do this entire thing.
Yeah. That makes it's a great way to do things. I mean, you can pop in, do two seeds, and then leave for 2 weeks, come back, do another one. You know, you have it's a great way to get people participating in a challenge seed that doesn't be like, no, get it done now.
Have to, yeah.
But I always need someone to get it done now. I always need that initial feedback.
Right.
Absolutely,
Because a week goes by and I'm like, oh no, nobody wants
totally
this.
fair. Oh no, it's there is legitimate burnout from some people, especially after the WT, and
Definitely.
you know, it's. But don't get me wrong, Shoom. I speak for myself in this, but I'm sure a lot of people agree with me. We love what you do for the community.
Thank you.
It is a great time to go into a seed and just realize I am in such a bad place, but I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. It's
I'm
gonna
right there
take
with
me
you.
2 hours, but I'm gonna get there.
You know what I'm gonna do? Maybe I'll make a Lewis script that you could just run. That's like Shoom cheering you on. Just go for it.
There you go. I'm okay
Pops
with
up in the
that.
corner. Yeah, do it.
Yep.
So
So,
the
Jay?
parallel to that question then is, do you have a seed that you will never, or a flag that you will never put on, or one that's always like, I don't want to do this, but I really have to? Like, what's something that you maybe yourself don't consider challenging, but maybe just consider either being a jerk or like this doesn't do what I think.
I think my least favorite, and this is going to sound super garbage, is when you can't run from battle.
Okay.
And you can play around with that a lot, but it is consistently the one flag that sends me over the edge where I'm like, ugh, but now you're forcing me to do this, and I'm decent enough at the game myself that I'm not going to be like lacking on resources. Like I know not to go into these locations without that thing, and then it only ever feels bad or neutral. It never feels good to get an unrunnable encounter. And so that's the type of thing that I try to avoid. Is you don't want neutral at best to be the experience from having set a flag. You want neutral to be the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to land as neutral for everybody. And there are certainly cases in which creating unrunnables would be valid, right? So if perhaps I'm trying to set up a challenge, a low level challenge, right? Like I'm trying to force you so that you're not gaining levels by end game. And so I'm reducing the encounter rate and I'm taking XP out of chests. And so your only ability to get encounters is when I give them to you. And so now you're not trying to encounter manipulate around disappearing from encounters. You're trying to get those encounters that you're forced to take.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's ways to play with it. I just don't particularly like it.
Right.
I've done unrunnable Unleashed Warmech before. Those are more of my R and Kylo style flags.
Right.
Or usually I'll give you a smoke item. If you're going to get an unrunnable Warmech, I'll also give you 10 smokes to get out of them.
Okay. Yeah. So
I mean, that's very generous.
Taking a conversation that we had in another channel, I don't want to necessarily get into this a whole lot, but just curious in what your thought is. I know we talked about this in Bingo a little bit about how to make a flag difficult without just going to, I'm just going to take everything to 300%, or I'm not going to take everything to just like way up here. You know? So what is your line between difficult and challenge? Like where do you draw
so challenge to me allows skill expression, and difficult is not mutually exclusive with that, but just scaling numbers feels tedious, right? I don't want tedium, because if the option becomes spend more time on this or run away, I'm going to run away whether you're 500% or 5%.
Yeah.
Right. Like if that wasn't the right time to take this fight, I'm just not going to do it. If it is the right time and I'm not able to kill you, I'm just going to find another fight. Right. And so there are ways around scaling, and then there are ways to force the scaling, right? Like, okay, I'm going to push the scaling up and then I'm going to make it unrunnable. And now it's just like, well, no, I don't want to play that. I don't find that. I personally don't find that to be fun. Yeah. There are people that will certainly find that. So the way that I would play with that, right, is the encounter manipulation, or as I said before, meta progress or meta tracking. So I love floor and entrance shuffle. I love no overworld shuffle. I love deep towns. I love the ways in which you can play with, I have to keep track of this. And so my difficulty is coming from an external source. Right. Like, can I, and it doesn't always have to be multi-management, right? Like some people just don't have the monitor space or the brain space to like allow them to do that, and that's fine. You want to sit down and play a video game, I'm not gonna like gatekeep that.
No.
So then I start thinking about, well, how can we play around with some of the other features that maybe are lesser known but could still really mess with you on a difficulty perspective, like spell obfuscation, right? Like that was one of my big ones that I was really excited for in round 8, was I sold you fire too, but guess what, it's actually ruse, sorry. But then also with the recognition that the item magic doesn't have the weird modifier. So you can just cast what you think you're casting there. And so the game becomes, I have to remember that he's trying to trick me. Like NPCs are lying to me. I might as well be playing Simon's Quest. Like that's where my difficulty is coming in. And so it doesn't always have to be directly with PvE. It could be player versus self as difficulty, imposed difficulty.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. I recall that. It was look, it's lit too. What is it? Why doesn't it work? Oh, because it's harm. Great.
Yeah, yeah. That is the point. But after you do that once, right? Like
Oh yeah.
standard Shoom mindset, right? After you do it once, you've now learned your lesson. Don't save after you buy the spells. Save before you buy the spells, right? And so now I'm training you. It kind of like that first level in Super Mario trains you to jump immediately, and if you didn't, you died, right? And then it starts to build on that. That's kind of the goal with that kind of weird flag set. Is I'm trying to train you early on.
Up to a point, for me, that accomplished its goal. Then things kind of went off the deep end.
Quite literally.
Literally. So,
yeah.
Jay, you have anything else, or should we move on to the old pulp?
Let's go on. Let's see what we got.
Okay, so Shoom, as you are the fourth guest now on the show, as we all know, we now have the pulp questions. Every guest on the show gets a set of pulp questions, with the last one being a random one that nobody knows until I ask it. So, are you ready, Shoom?
As ready as I can be, I suppose.
Spectacular. So let's see what we got here. So, black belt, yes or no? You a fan? You're not a fan?
I'm gonna say no.
No on the black belt. Okay. Vorpal or katana?
Yes.
No. Pick one.
No, come on.
Inclusive or strikes again. Katana is always preferable.
Okay, because katana. White mage or red mage?
White mage.
Well, okay, get the white mage getting some love on these things. Would
red
you take a fighter?
Trash, man.
A fighter or a thief?
Yes. Thief definitely. If I had to pick one, it's almost always going to be a thief.
Okay.
With the bonuses.
This one I'm really interested to hear from you. The worst world change: Proc Gen, Deep Dungeon, No Overworld. What's the one that you least like? I know you like them all. Which one's your least favorite?
You're gonna make me say a change. My least favorite is Vanilla Overworld.
Vanilla.
I'm serious. I really enjoy being able to play with that.
You know what? I'm willing to accept that, just because I know how much you love all the world changes.
I do, because my knee jerk was, if you're really gonna put this, like, I had to say a change, it's gonna be Deep Dungeon, and my sadness about that is it could be better, and I still love what it is. So
it's still fun.
Yeah.
All right. What has been so far your favorite addition or change to the randomizer?
My favorite. God, I've been doing this for too long. I remember the black screen with green text. I think I'm going to give you two on this one. Okay. It is White Mage Harm and Thief Agility bonus. Because really both of those took us out of Fighter Rainbow and Black Belt being the only meta.
Right. That's true. That's very true. If you're running someone else's flags, what's a flag that you love to see turned on? The best flag for you to see?
Floor entrance shuffle, anything to do with dungeon flipping.
Awesome. TFCC or TFC Earth?
As in positive or negative?
Which one would you rather have to deal with?
I'd rather deal with C. Earth is the worst dungeon.
Earth is probably one of the worst, which I think it might have taken the place of one of the worst ones in the game. What is your go-to party to run?
Fighter, Thief, White, Black.
Fighter, Thief, White, Black. All right. Marsh Locked or Go to Ordeals?
Is there anything else at Marsh?
Go down to Locked.
Yes. Okay, if that's the only thing I have to check. Oof. I think. Oh. No. I look for something else.
Nope. Marsh or Ordeals? Which one?
Okay. There's so many variables. Ordeals.
Ordeals. All right. How do you do your Sky 4th floor maze?
Upright.
Okay, that's half. We're halfway there. Up, right, right's always up, left's always been mine. So
the problem is that I don't want to forget, if I take an encounter along the way, I don't know where I am, so I always stagger it.
Oh, I literally just keep my fingers up. I did one. I've done two. I've done one. I've done two.
Yep.
And then you have to not hit the reset button while you're.
Yep. So, This one for you, I think, is going to be really interesting. And I think you've already said it. What's one thing you want to see in the future of the randomizer?
Oh, so aside from the meta progression, I actually do have a flag that I'd like to add,
Uh-oh.
which
What
would
would you
be
like to have?
I want melee spells. I want to be able to go to a shop and buy Whirlwind or Backstab and have it only
Ah,
affected by attack damage and not
interesting.
by a base damage.
Oof.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
and I lied. There's one more. I
okay,
want
okay.
spells that we could learn by looting them from a treasure chest.
Ah, okay.
Spell
All right. So
books.
basically finding scrolls.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
Okay. This one I'm also really interested in. History behind your username.
Like so many others, World of Warcraft. I needed something that sounded trollish. That was it.
That's
Trollish.
well.
Yeah.
No, I understand what he's getting at. All right. And now time for the final question. And you alluded to this earlier because I think you've already got yourself a meme. Will we ever see the infamous Lake Shoom again?
Uh,
And there we have it. There we
that's
have it.
that's my meme. Oh no.
There it is. There it is. So for those of you who didn't get a chance to see it, this was done in I think it was the first round of the round 8 seed, week 8.
Yeah, my first attempt. There was an
So
overworld shuffle, and it led to that.
yeah, that was me going through Ice Cave, and because it was in reverse. So I said, okay, I'll just finish the Ice Cave and see where the random entrance pops me out. And it popped me out here. And I was like, oh, how do I get out? Oh, you can't get out. And then me thinking, okay, hold on. Shoom gave me 99 tents, 99 cabins, and 99 houses. Maybe he means for me to save here, and then if I reset, I'll go, nope, you're done. You're done. You're stuck in Lake Shoom.
I'm curious what exit would have done.
I
But
didn't have it, and
yeah,
that was all spell obfuscation. So
I
even
know,
if
I
I
know. I'm
had it,
sorry.
I didn't even
We
know what
didn't know you
I
had
tried.
it.
I did try every single spell that my white mage had. Does this work? No. Does this work? No. Does this work? No. Does this work? Damn. And then I had to message Shum and be like,
What's
I
wrong?
think I found a thing, and I don't want to do this to you, my
Yeah.
friend, but I found a thing.
No, I
But
mean, I'll take the feedback. I'd rather know that those flags are incompatible. I don't want ever for an experience to be like marred by something like that. So I hope you enjoyed it along the way.
up until that point, I was having a blast because I have an Excel spreadsheet that I do for all my entrance and floor shuffles, and I'm like, yeah, chance to use it. This is great.
Yeah, I have a tracker that I kind of use off to the side like a whiteboard.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It works.
That's that's fantastic.
Notebook
Shoom,
paper.
we again, we're really happy to have you on. Don't stop doing what you're doing with the challenge seeds, my friend. They are fantastic. Great time all around.
Looking forward to the summer ones. Do it again.
I am
Me too.
I absolutely we don't know what's gonna happen. And I'm hoping that maybe sometime in the future, yes, we can get a shoombabi versus Ale challenge for challenge
I'm sure it's gonna happen.
hosted by the OJ Power Hour, one of our specials. It'll be a bit of a longer night, but man, is it going to be fun to watch that. So, Jay,
Yeah.
you alluded to this a while ago.
We've got some new stuff coming here. I'm sorry for anyone who's in the U.S. You know, it's about that time of year. Election season is on us. So our first ad. I'm so sorry.
What happened to Canaria? Do you remember when it was a dream city? Jack Garland does. The king wants to rebuild the bridge, allowing Provokans into our city. Provokans from the pirate town. Jack Garland says no. Jack Garland was a knight, but now he wants to be your representative. Monster attacks are on the rise. The sea is not safe. Crop failures are happening all over the land. Canaria needs real change, real leadership. Jack Garland will deliver. Jack Garland won't let the bridge be built. Jack Garland won't let the ruins north of town stay as ruins. He knows the change you need, and he will be there for you. I'm Jack Garland, and I approve this message. Paid for by the committee who elect Jack Garland.
All right, we are back. I hope you enjoyed our first paid for ad from our old buddy Jack Garland. Yeah, he's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great it's gonna be a good election. So yeah, we're on to the rotating segment, and
Yeah.
Platy Party started.
How was that
What?
seed this week? Oh my.
You know what? We talked about this before because I
Yeah.
think you and me were the only two that ran into the nuke mucks that Saracen had prepared for us, and oh my, yeah, that seed threw a lot of people for a loop.
Yeah.
Um,
That
yeah,
I thought I was going well on it, and then things happened.
yeah, I was happy with how I finished. I'm not going to complain about that. I did kind of take a sneak peek into your stream after mine had ended, and after I was done and hanging around, and I was like, oh, good, he's not doing too bad. It's
Yeah.
great. It's great. Oh
Yeah,
dear.
I was just
And
done
yeah,
with
that was
those what were they? Glance Sahags or whatever?
oh
Oh my.
the glance hogs, and they always ambushed. It seemed
Yeah, I
even with
was
the thief
trying
out
to get
front.
down to I think it was ordeals. I think I saved scum like 10 or 11 tints in that
Uh,
path.
yeah,
Get
the sea was not safe. Werewolves had damage poison. They kicked me out of Earth at least once. Um, Huge shout to I think it was Budge Mono that one. Just took it. He he was finished while I was about to go
yeah.
into the on-rack uh, Oxyale to go turn in the crown to get the cube. So he was at
Mm-hmm.
least a fiend. He was at least two fiends ahead of me.
I had 2 orcs. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Oh my! It's like
Ye-
I still have 2 dungeons to go.
Yeah. Oh, and I also would like to point out from that seed. Apparently the fiends had a lot of nasty stuff that I didn't see. That was Saracen that rolled that. Totally Saracen.
Yep.
Totally on
Not
him.
Danny. We're not gonna blame her this time.
Nope. Danny is completely free and innocent. And
This
the
time.
irony being that I rolled the seed for the next one, the one the ducklings ran, and it was nothing. There's nothing. There was no problems. The ducklings had a great time, so I've been told. Not that they now.
Sweet. Adult.
To be fair, they wouldn't tell me anyways.
Did Danny train Saracen? No, I may have stolen a bit of her stuff though.
Yeah. I remember that seed. Oh, I remember that one.
But yeah, so
Killing me on that
Potty
one.
Party is going. The Duck Boot Camp is well on its way. We're what, halfway through the boot camp this year?
Yep. Yeah, and there's still 2 weeks left of Platy Party.
Think so. Yeah.
Yep. So anyone who hasn't won a tournament can still show up and still take part. And even if you have won a tournament, come and have fun.
Yeah, you can still come and
It's
race with us.
they're
That's fun.
completely blind. We did
I
learn
wouldn't say
from we did
completely.
learn
We
to
know the theme this year, which is more than we've ever
true
known.
true. Just remember to read the flags.
Please.
Just read the flags. Very very important. Gotta read those flags because otherwise, yeah, you may be run into some issues.
Yeah, so with those two combined, tomorrow we've got a mixed up world. It's going to turn into an entrance and floor shuffle for the Ducklings.
And
We,
I believe it is shards.
I'm not sure about that, but I can believe that.
Unless I
So,
copied it wrong. Again, we're going live. Things happen. No, it's entrance floor shuffle
with
shards.
shards. Yep. I see it there.
Yeah,
So,
oh boy. This is it's half of winter tournament.
I mean, we talk about favorite ways to play. That is my favorite way to play. So, we're good. Love me a shard
it's gonna
hunt
be
and
good.
entrance and floor shuffle. I can get behind it.
Shard Hunt has grown on me because the loot goblin in me is like,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
It
Unfortunately, the black belt lover in me is like, no, you
was
don't want to open boxes. You want to
See,
go
that's
with
a
speed
part
and
that just
power.
needs to be saved by the thief, and you're fine.
That's very true. That's very true.
But
Anyway,
then next week, so next Sunday, it looks like it's the Spring Tournament 2021 Redux. So for next week's
yes.
Platy Party, we get Spring Tournament 21 flags, which I want to say was my first Spring Tournament. I think so.
There you
I
go.
don't remember it. It was
Classics.
3 years ago.
That's a while ago. It was before my time of doing running. I'll say that much. I only jumped in on last year's Derby, and that's where I cut my teeth.
I'm trying to remember the
So
theme of it. I remember the theme of the tournaments. I don't remember the year. So if that was the casino one, I think so.
I think it was. I think it was. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was the Chaos Casino
Yep.
year. Good year.
Hmm.
Now, something that you alluded to a
Yep.
little while ago. I guess we'll talk about it now. So yes, there is a little surprise that I've been working on, and Shoom has also kind of alluded to. So if you go to the wiki right now and you take a look under the Alt Fiends tab, you're going to notice it's a lot bigger than it used to be. There has been there will be coming in the future, hopefully. 26 new fiends added to the Alt Fiend pool from multiple Final Fantasies.
Didn't that like
Um,
double the number?
it did. There's a lot in there. Some that you'll notice, some that you won't. Yeah, there's still a lot of testing to do with it. Alpha testing has gone well. We're hoping to move to beta sometime in the next couple of weeks, depending if the devs are kind to me and don't just say, "What are you doing? Get out of here." It's totally fair. Totally fair. Um, so yeah, we're gonna have. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to give a lot of people a lot of new ways to play this. It's going to be different because remember, your fiends are all going to have different abilities, which now be shuffled into a pool, which now go to everybody. So
Yep.
there's a slight chance, and I say slight, that you may end up with like more than 2 or 3 nuclears in a pool.
Yeah.
It's possible.
And some spells
But
that we're not used to seeing, if I remember right. Like fiends might actually start casting ruse on themselves or something that we're not used to.
yeah, I'm still alpha testing to make sure that all works properly. But yes, the fiends have the ability to do that stuff. So yeah, it's coming. I promise it is coming. It
Yep.
is, and huge again, massive thank you to both Wildham and for providing me support and not choking the life out of me for asking really dumb questions and being like, "This doesn't work." Oh, never mind, it works now. And to Dark Moon for providing all of the fiend assets
Mhm.
and I am so sorry, I am blanking on his name right now. Barber, I think his name is in the
Oh, yeah.
server, for figuring out why the alt fiend images were completely scrambled and not working. Turns
One
out if you're
pixel.
one pixel off corrupts all the memory. It was fun to load up that seed and be like, what is that?
Yeah.
And what is that? That is not a fiend. That looks like Lich has basically gone through a paper shredder and that Carrie tried to paste them back together.
Wow.
Yes. So, I mean,
Well,
wow, look at that. We're running low on time again. We're at our last 2 minutes again. We managed to fill a
yeah.
whole show again. So
We
I
still
guess
have a
we should
couple
shout
things
out.
to call out, though. Yeah.
We do. Once again, the Duckling Weekly is going to be your 100 seeds this week. I encourage everyone to go out,
Hmm.
have fun with them. Your async is the 200s. Again, it's fantastic. If you're a duckling, go out there, run them. It's great practice. Take it from me, someone who went
Yep.
through the program last year. It will help.
Very much so.
Once again, still time to get in on the Fane ladder.
Yeah.
Those seeds are still up there. It's
And
it's
if
going to
you are at
be
all interested, we've got the marathon also upcoming here. So our summer
certainly
marathon's
do.
getting ready to go. We've been posting in discords throughout the community and communities. But if you run
Hmm.
anything, if you're interested in trying to get something in, or if you know like, hey, I'm a lurker in this Discord and I love what they're doing with the randomizer, let us know. We want to get as many groups in as we can. So that marathon
Absolutely.
is coming on up. Our submission close date is May 24th. So there's about a month until that submission close date gets on. We hope to have
Yep.
the schedule out the 26th then.
And I've already heard some people talk about what they're doing. Oh, this is going to be it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I really want to see a lot of people show up. It supports a great cause.
Yep.
Like I really think this is going to be the best one we put on yet. I really do. It's going to be great. It's going to be
And
great.
feel free to submit multiple runs if you think like, hey, here's a couple options, or just
Mhm.
like give us ideas. We're up to anything. It doesn't have to be just oh, hey, I can go play for 2 hours and beat this game. If you got something you want to show off or something that's been happening in the community, let us know.
Absolutely, we are more than willing to do it. I myself might even put in a run. I don't know yet. I've been considering one game in particular. It might go. It'll be a long one, but I'm willing to sit through it
I,
especially it's a fun game and for a great cause like the Liam Foundation. Totally on board.
I
Totally
think
on
I
board.
might be on comms or kind of an AP match with another pretty new one coming out. So we'll see what's up.
Awesome.
Yep.
And so, I mean, we've made it to the end of the night, but we got to tell you this. Next, again, if you have any suggestions, comments, criticisms, concerns, anything you want to say, there's the channel on the Discord. By all means, say what you want to say, talk about what you want to talk about. If you have some ideas, by all means, send me or Jay a message. We're more than willing to help with you. If you got something you'd like to test or something you'd like to get off the ground, we're more than willing to give you a spot on the show. Absolutely. Of course, we have our mailbag pinned in the OJ Power Hour channel. If you
And
have
linked in the
questions
Discord,
for our,
or linked in the chat right now.
it is indeed. If you have questions for me, for Jay, if you want to know more about maybe what Jay's doing with his upcoming stuff, if you want to have more questions for me about what we're doing with me screwing around with random fiends, by all means, put them out there. We're more than willing to talk about anything. And next week, oh boy, you heard us talking about it.
Yep.
It's coming up. The Lefanian ladder is coming. And next week, we have another doubleheader. That's right. Shanigan is going to be with us live in studio. That's right. Shanigan's coming. And so is Ale. It's going to be a Lefanian ladder series.
Here,
Yes, that's
another
right.
take on some of these challenge seats. So we heard from Shoom
Yes.
tonight. Let's see what another take on this is.
Absolutely. We will. We love to hear from the challenge seed makers. We love it. It's always so fun. And yeah, I am looking forward to that. I really want a huge thank you to both Shanigan and Ale for making some time to come on the show with us. We're looking forward to having you both. Well, we did it again, Jay. Another
number 3's in the bag.
great show. Another great show down the drain. So to all of you lovely viewers out there and the people who are supporting us, we thank you so much. Once again, huge. Yeah, we wouldn't do this without you guys' support. Thank you very much. We will be back next week with Shanigan and Ale for the Lefane ladders. And I hope see you guys all next week.
Bye.